Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's by user SimplyStephJ. Significant other 28 male of 9 years called off our wedding, implying we were over. Is this something I, 26 female, could make work for us? Firstly, to clarify from the title, he wants to make it work too, but has reservations due to his belief that I'll always resent him. So, we've been together for almost 9 years now. When we first started dating, we had a rough patch due to both of us not being ready for a relationship after just coming out of abusive ones. Mine physical, his emotional. We broke up for a year and ended up accidentally rekindling after he caught his father cheating on his mother and didn't know who else to go for advice. So around 5 years ago, we got back together and we've been great since. During the next 2-ish years, I was finishing off college and starting a career while I figured out my next move, furthering my current career or going back for post-grad. We were happy where we were and mutually didn't feel a rush toward marriage until we were more set in life, but neither of us had doubts this was a long-haul thing for us. Fast forward to 3 months ago and we got engaged. He's joining the Navy and didn't want to leave me high and dry. I wanted to follow him because I still wasn't sure about post-grad and my current job will get me hired anywhere. We realized we were holding off on marriage for a perfect time that would never come. We loved each other and wanted to make that commitment. Now, originally, we planned an elopement of sorts, just immediate close family coming with us on a cruise and a casual party for the rest of our friends and family after we got back. It was honestly perfect for us and everyone knew that and agreed. However, it somehow turned into a 100+ attendee formal wedding neither of us wanted, didn't hate it, but thought the other did want it. It was planned to be in 3 months' time, which left very little time for us to plan a formal wedding. This is something that I almost called off the wedding for in order to elope because it was just too much and wasn't what we envisioned. Neither of us liked parties or big to-dos. It was a lot of money and stress and probably would have been different if that wedding was our plan A, not an accident. To top it off, I've been having issues at work, non-job threatening, just a lot of stress. And he totaled my car after being T-boned, not his fault. So finances, lack of car, and stress took their toll. Things haven't been great for us the last few weeks and just kept spiraling downwards. It came to a head and he voiced concerns about marriage stemming from how we've been the last few weeks. I told him I wasn't sure if we could survive cancelling the wedding. They were issues that without the stress of everything else, we could have worked on easily, but with everything going on it seemed unsurmountable. A day or two later, after giving him time to think, he said it's been as if it's all called off. It was implied it meant us too, because we didn't think a relationship could bounce back from a cancelled wedding in that way. Anyways, now we're considering trying to make it work, but he's afraid I will resent him for the cancelled wedding and that it will cause further problems. I know it's a valid concern because I was sobbing when he cancelled it. 0% because of the party, but because of being in the general situation. Now though, I truly feel that I'm relieved it's cancelled. I'm only stressed out about how to confront family since save the dates were sent and our wedding shower was cancelled the day before the party. The wedding was nothing that either of us really wanted, and I feel that it made issues 20 times worse due to the stress from planning a wedding, spending money on a wedding that we weren't truly excited about, the totaled car and finances for that, plus stress from work, plus stress from him leaving in a few months. Most people know that it was cancelled due to issues in our relationship. My parents are very supportive of us working on it, surprisingly, without a wedding. My sister is super judgmental and somewhat hypocritical about the way I handle issues in my life, so she's all about F him and move on. His family loves me and would support whatever our decision is. I know it comes down to us, but family is important to both of us. Well, OP, from what you write, it sounds like this was one of those perfect storm type situations where you guys were just caught up and failed to communicate and then just went with the flow, which of course crapped everything. I'd say to address your title question, if you can make it work for the both of you, No, because it's not on you, it's on both of you. If this relationship is going to move forward, having a huge wedding or having a tiny little ceremony, it doesn't really matter. If it's going to work out, it's because both of you are in it. If he gave up on the relationship or mentally moved on, then it's not going to work out because it shouldn't be only your burden. Then you're just going to be carrying the relationship forever and it's all going to be on you, always. Don't put yourself in that position. What I would do if I were you is I would sit down with your boyfriend, put everything on the table and say, all right, what do we want? And then come up to an agreement. Do we continue or not? You've got your family's support, so the decision is up to the both of you, but it can't be on only one of you. And what do you guys think OP should do in this situation? What would you do if you were in her shoes? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Mary Cinder says, a huge part of being married is dealing with life's obstacles like that. Was it really about the big, expensive wedding? Does he even really want to get married? Being married means that you survive life as a team. That includes standing up to family, bearing the weight of financial burdens, and making decisions that benefit the both of you. If getting married was really that important to him, calling off the huge show and eloping wouldn't have been so hard. Why was calling off the party and calling off the marriage synonymous? I think I'm missing something, or the bouncing back reasonings is a cop-out. If it's not, to me it seems like a pretty silly reason to throw away a life you planned together. Sour Candy is Good says, I think you're overthinking this whole thing. Wedding or no wedding, it's your relationship that matters. So try to just forget about all this wedding stuff that is coming in and creating problems in your relationship. Stop thinking about the future so much and just take it day by day. Follow your heart and your intuition and the answers will reveal themselves. It sounds like there is a lot of love between you, but all your thoughts about stuff that isn't real, like a wedding, are ruining the thing that is real, your relationship. Keep it simple and don't worry about what other people think. Starshine 1988 says, I feel like the choice should have been to cancel the wedding and just elope as originally envisioned if the planning, stress of a wedding, financial issues was what was causing the problems. I probably wouldn't want to keep trying after that. I'm unclear on what happened in this bit. Quote, a day or two after giving him time to think, he said it's been as if it's all called off. It was implied it meant us too because we didn't think a relationship could bounce back from a cancelled wedding in that way. It sounds like he made a unilateral decision to call off the wedding and told his friends and family as much, rather than you and him having a discussion about calling it off or making the announcement to people together. If that's the case, that sounds incredibly selfish of someone who wants the relationship to work. Okay, well, the community gave OP some pretty good food for thought there in their comments, and unfortunately OP didn't reply to any comments, so there isn't any additional context I can give you guys. At this point, let's just move on with the update to see how this story ends. Nope, we couldn't work on it because he cheated. I found out this morning through an anonymous Facebook message that he wasn't loyal, and there was more to the breakup than I knew. I called him twice with no response, so I sent him a text about the message. Still no response. So I decided to check his phone records. Lo and behold, a mysterious number popped up like the day things started to go downhill for us. He'd call the number on nights I was working and text it throughout the day. Soon after I saw that, I checked the Find My iPhone app. He got his first iPhone and I helped him set it up like 2 weeks ago and we share our locations. His GPS showed at a random house near downtown that I know none of his friends lived at. Soon after that, he called me. He denied it all and was trying to be all supportive. The moment I said I had proof he was hiding things from his phone records, his entire demeanor changed. He specifically stated, "Oh, I didn't sleep with anyone," which was odd since I never brought up cheating. As he was talking, I checked Find My iPhone again, and from the distance, it looked like he left wherever he was and called as soon as he was in the car. I asked where he was, and he said driving. I asked from where, and he got very defensive, saying it wasn't my business since we weren't together. I reiterated I knew he was hiding things from me. I still never brought up accusations of cheating yet. He called me creepy and stalkerish. I asked who the specific phone number belonged to and he refused to answer, saying I was crazy. So I said I deserved to know and he said a friend from work. For the next few minutes he refused to assign it gender pronouns. A little bit later, I pushed if it was a woman and he admitted it. So I asked who it was and said if it were the few women I know. Then I get maybe he was venting to them. He refused to answer. So yeah, we can't work it out. Also, prior to this, he was already acting like a hot and cold jerk for the week after he left me on the day of my bridal shower. Either acting like he didn't care one bit about me or that he wanted me back because his life was falling apart. Needless to say, I became more relieved that the relationship was over and was more mourning the fact that I was in this position I was in, canceling a wedding after a failed engagement. I realized he was very selfish, and I took on every responsibility in wedding planning and our relationship while he had nothing to do but work and come home to play video games. For the record, I like video games, but only when I have the time. Basically, this was the icing on the crap cake, and any bit I had left hanging onto the relationship went right out the window. I honestly feel relieved. I don't feel sad. I feel free and happy. I'm not sad being in the apartment we shared anymore. My sister had helped me 2 nights ago set up a new bed and helped change the entire look of the bedroom. Also, Monday, I'm going to a theme park with a coworker. While I'm not exactly trying to jump right into anything, he's a great guy and we have the same interests. It's just nice to have attention from someone I get along with. I'm also getting tested as soon as possible. Thanks for reading. Smiley face. Extended from OP's comments, in the case that my ex decides to come back if it doesn't work out with his new friend, because I can definitely see that happening, it's done. He started talking to this person prior to leaving me. Even if it was platonic somehow, I'm not marrying someone hiding things like that 2 months before the wedding. So I already started working on moving on, and I'm definitely going to enjoy being single for a while. Also, even though I could be interested in my coworker, I'm not ready for a relationship yet, and my expectations in one probably don't line up with starting a new one. I really don't want to make things awkward at work. I'm just enjoying life for now. I know I'm not ready for a relationship or anything steady, but it's nice to have a distraction. Well, I guess even though it was good advice for OP's situation, it was irrelevant to the outcome because that douchebag was cheating on her. So good thing you got that message, OP, and you confronted him. Well done. Now it's time, like you say, to move on and focus on yourself. Stay single for a while. You were in a relationship for 9 years. You need to get to know yourself again. And then who knows what the future might bring to you. In any case, all the best, OP, and take care. Thank you for sharing. Now, let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Petty Revenge and it's by user Yehe. Stop stealing my assigned parking space. I used to work at a large car dealer and everyone was giving assigned parking. The women usually got the first few rows as the lot could be a little dark and scary during the winter, so consequently the guys got the rows up against the fence further away. No big deal. Anyway, my spot ended up being way down in the back corner of the lot and that was fine with me. Every now and then I would show up and there was a car in my spot, leaving me to scramble for another before work started. The problem was that the used car salesmen were trying to hide a car they had prospects on over the weekend and didn't want it sold out from under them until they could show up on their next shift. And if they worked Sunday, they usually had Monday off. Salesmen being salesmen, they would steal a sale from their brother to make a buck, but that's another issue. So they would hide cars in employee parking and then the person whose spot they stole would have to find another spot usually at the last minute, and sometimes they would be a douche and just take someone else's assigned spot, causing a cascade effect. For some reason they seemed to take my spot a lot. The first couple of times I went to HR and told them and they said they would pass it on, but it still happened 4 to 5 times a month and I was getting tired of it. On a bright and early Monday, I came in and sure enough, there was a used car in my spot. I was in a particular mood, so I grabbed the keys to the tow truck and moved the car way out onto the service lot and dumped it into the area our body shop used to store cars waiting for parts. I put the truck away and then parked my truck, a fine 75 IH Scout, in the spot and went to work. A few hours later, a salesman came looking for the car and after only finding my Scout, went around asking who owned said Scout and finally found me. He wanted to know where his car was and I played stupid. I asked him where was it parked and made him take me to where he saw it last. He said right here and pointed to my space with my Scout in it. I said, I don't know, this is employee parking and it shouldn't be here anyway. Someone must have moved it. You should go see HR or your manager and complain to them, and I walked off. I assumed he found it because I didn't see him again. Next Monday, the same thing happened, but this time I towed the car and parked it across the street on another dealer's lot. I knew the manager there and he said it was fine. I returned to the tow truck and went to work. A few hours later, another salesman was back in my face looking for his car. I told him the same thing. I have no idea what you are talking about, and I went back to work. A few hours later, HR, the used car manager, and the salesman show up in my bay looking for the same car from earlier. So the manager and HR started asking me where the car was, and I asked them to show me where it was parked. We went down to the lower lot and he pointed to my spot with my Scout sitting in it and said it was right here. I asked him, so it was parked right here in my assigned parking place and now it's gone? He said, yes, it was parked right here. And I added, in my spot. I just want to confirm that. Yes, in your spot. The used car manager was getting annoyed with all of us. I asked, why are you getting pissed at me? Your kids, pointing at the sales guy, keep parking them here. It's my assigned spot and I've been dealing with this for months. He responds, I'll deal with that. Where's the effing car? I said, parked across the street at Friendly Dealers. What the F? How did it get there? I towed it. Hilarity and anger ensued and I went back to work. HR said, please don't do that anymore. Come see me first. All was fine for about the next week until the following Monday, and sure enough, there was another car parked in my spot. Pissed, I went to see HR and she said she would talk to the manager as soon as he shows up. Tuesday and the same car is still there. I thought F this and drove my Scout up front, and since it had been raining and my roads were all dirt and mud, my Scout looked pretty bad. I parked it in the used car manager's spot right outside his office and made a point of parking badly and on the curb with mud clumping on the ground. I went to work. About 2 hours later, when that manager showed up to work, I get paged over the intercom. OP, please see the used car manager in his office. I thought this is going to be good. I walked into his office and he points to my Scout. Is that yours? Yes. Why is it parked there? Because even after last week's incident with the towed car, your kids have parked in my spot again. So every time they park a car there, I'll park here. Well, you need to move your car. I can't. My spot is occupied. It can't stay there. Well, it's going to until your kids move that car. And every day from now on, if there is a car in my spot, I'm parking here. Who the F do you think you're talking to? Move the car or I'll get it towed. What the F is your problem? This is all your fault for not dealing with it like a manager. If you want to play that way, I'll move my Scout. But before I do, look at the rear number on that thing. So what? It's a nice big steel bumper, and what I'll do is just back into my spot, and if there is anything in my way, I'll just push it backward. How does that sound? You can't do that. Well, get off your lazy ass and tell your people to stop hiding cars in my effing spot. I'm tired of doing this. My car stays until your car moves. And I walked out. I get back to my bay and about 10 minutes later, I hear over the loudspeaker, OP, please see General Manager in his office immediately. I walk into the GM's office and the used car manager and HR are both there. The used cars manager looks pissed and HR looks amused. The GM asks what's going on. I told him. I spoke to the salesman and asked nicely. I spoke to HR and told him what's going on, and I've spoken to Commander Douchebag a few times about his people parking cars in my assigned parking. They continued, so I started parking in his spot when his people park in mine. He shakes his head, asks the used car manager if this is the case, and he starts to yammer. The GM just holds his hands up and says, stop. He looks at HR and asks if this is true, and she said this has happened. The GM asks, can you please move your car and I'll settle this. I closed the door and could hear the GM reaming the used cars manager through a closed door 30 feet away. OP, loved what you did here. Definitely showed that douchebag a lesson. Well done, OP. Thank you for sharing. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.